Today we are commemorating this ending of learning for Tractate Sukkah or Sukkot. This tractate, as is obvious from its name, referring and talking about the mitzvah of Sukkah, having to do with the holiday of the tabernacle, and all the obligation we have in this holiday. Starting with what is Sukkah, how long you have to sit in it, what is the obligation, how you make one, from what materials, what's allowed, what's not allowed, and continuing with discussing the four species that you're supposed to use for Sukkot: lulav and etrog, the myrtle branch and the willow. Those four things are coming and discussing throughout this tractate. And on top of it, obviously, the tractate also deals with the notion of what to do, the extending of the Chag, the sacrifices in the temple, the different ideas, the different concepts coming from it. In the end of the tractate actually ends up with a story about an individual young lady who married a Greek officer. The name was Bilga, and Bilga decided not just the fact that she's married outside, so to speak, she also had a tendency to make a show out of it. So she went to the temple and she kicked, that's what the Talmud teaches, that she kicked the temple and says locus locus. She spoke to the altar in the temple as a wolf that is grabbing and eating and snatching all the food, all the prosperity of the Jewish people. The fact that this is a common practice throughout the Near East, that every altar, so to speak, ate the sacrifices, and that was of course not an issue. But the Talmud says that the authorities or the hierarchy of the priestly clan actually took punitive measures about her close family, but also the extended family. The temple was divided to different families who run the services in the temple, and her family and her god, so to speak, were punished because of her action. Talmud continued to converse why, because of an action of the one, the many has to suffer. And Talmud explained that because the fact that she was from a highly noble family, we expected more from her and expect more from her family that will basically educate her better. And Talmud continued with the notion of explaining what's the difference between individual act and global act, what's the responsibility, why they have to take the responsibility. But the Talmud ends with a quote from Abaye. Abaye, the major scholar, says, we learn from this story that it's terrible to be wicked, but it's also terrible to the neighbors or the surrounding of the wickedness or the wicked person. And the same thing we hear, how great it is to be righteous, and the neighbors of the righteous person, the people, the surrounding of the righteous person, are benefiting from his behavior. And it says that you see the tzaddik, you see that his own, not just is benefiting from his own behavior, that you see that the fruits of his labor, the fruits of his action, you can enjoy from them. Which is again bringing up, I think, the closure of this verse, of this idea that the righteous person is not only responsible for his own surrounding, but it really have an impact of everything around him to extend level. That is the entire concept of Sukkot. The idea of the holiday of Sukkot is a holiday we celebrate outside. It's not a holiday we celebrate inside. That's a holiday that we do between us and ourselves, inside a table. No, it's a holiday that we have two obligations of it. One is that we do have celebrating it outside the house, in a small hut, that everybody can see that we celebrate the holiday. And obviously when somebody said, oh, he celebrates Sukkot, a person might actually learn from it and say, oh, I can celebrate too. The second thing we have in the holiday of Sukkot is the obligation to have guests. As we know, the ushpizim. We need to extend people that will come to us, come to see what we do. So therefore we extend our action, we extend our work. extend what we do, our behavior, in that case, righteous behavior, we do the commandments, to the outside world. This is the end of Tractate Sukkot, and on behalf of the Steinsaltz Center, I'd like to wish everybody who learned this tractate, anybody who spent the time learning and contemplating this outstanding tractate, I will take it to teach it, to learn it, to preserve it, and also to do what was said in this tractate, to bring it to extend our knowledge, to extend our ideas, and the importance of our traditions. Thank you.